and girls, and welcome to another episode of the Concession Stand here on the KB Radio Network. This is the review of Prime Video's new R-rated comedy directed by Peter Farrelly, Ricky Stanicky. And this film stars Zac Efron, Jermaine Fowler, Andrew Santino, and John Cena, as well as William H. Macy. And the premise of this film, Ricky Stanicky is the name of an imaginary character invented by three lifelong friends as someone to blame for their misbehavior over the past 2 decades. When their partners become suspicious and demands to meet Ricky, they decide to hire a washed-up actor to bring the character to life. This film was billed as a rated R comedy, and it's on the poster like that's a thing, so I'm thinking we're getting this return to form of old comedies, and I say old like 90s comedies or mid 2000 or early 2000 comedies, where it was just screwball gross out comedy, crude adult humor type comedy. And it's coming from Peter Farrelly, who is one half of the Farley brothers, who's given us such classes as Dumb and Dumber, Me, Myself, and Irene. There's Something About Mary, The Heartbreak Kid, those type of films. And as of late, he kind of had a dramatic turn as a director when he went solo and directed Green Book in 2018, which won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And so he has a kind of a mixed bag of a career, even though Green Book, a good movie, but highly inaccurate from the real events. And it's coming from people who was involved with that particular story in real life. So take that with what you will. He also had a hand in probably or arguably the worst movie of all time, movie 43. He had his handprints all over that movie, and oh my God, that was a horrible movie. But this go around, we get Ricky Stanicky, and this film, I was a little excited for it because I'm a big fan of the Farley brothers, together doing work, even some of the work they've done separately, but I love their comedies. All the movies I listed, well, not all of them, I'm lying, but Dumb and Dumber, Me, Myself, and Irene, There's Something About Mary, those are hilarious movies. The Heartbreak Kid is a movie I still quote to this day. I still quote that movie, and I'm not going to quote it here because it's not appropriate. But anywho, there are some of the funniest movies I've ever watched. And so to see that he is diving back into this kind of a R-rated, hard R adult humor comedy, I was like, okay, here we go. And I sat down and watched it. And I didn't get what I was looking for. This was not the best outing for Peter Farrelly or and the rest of the cast here. This wasn't hilarious like I wanted it to be. I just wanted to turn my brain off for an hour and a half and just laugh. And I didn't get it. I was amused at some points in this film, but I didn't burst out laughing. I didn't have that same pop that I've had in past films, comedies, even from the 90s and the early 2000s. That's right up my alley. I guess to put a label on it, stupid, just stupid comedy, just stupid for no reason. And that I love that. I love nonsensical plots that fit. That just works. And the premise of this film is right up a Farley brothers alley. You know, this is a dumb plot. Interesting, interesting, and I see where they were heading. It was a great idea for a film. You know, we pick up in this movie, they're kids. The three main characters are kids, and they get into trouble, and they blame it on Ricky Stanicky, who doesn't exist. And so it worked. So when it worked the first time, they kept using it, kept using it. Now they're grown adult men and they're still using it. They're still using this guy. And finally, after 20 years or 20 plus years, they're called out on it. And they have to come up with an idea, come up with a plan to throw off their respective partners. And they hired this washed up actor who is played by John Cena to portray Ricky. Now, let's go through the cast here. Now, Zac Efron, he's coming off of what I feel one of the biggest snubs in the Academy Awards this past season with his turn in The Iron Claw. He should have been nominated for that role in that film. Amazing performance by Zac Efron. He was robbed. He was robbed. But Zac Efron kind of getting back into some comedies. This isn't his first foray with Peter Farley. I think just last year they did a film together, the greatest beer run ever. I think that was the name of the movie. Also for Amazon. I didn't watch that movie, but I saw some reviews of it, and it was well received. But in any event, uh, Neighbors and uh 17 again. So Zac Efron is not unfamiliar with comedies. I mean, he come from, well, I wouldn't classify that as a comedy, High School Musical, but I guess, but that's where he started. But anywho's, he's back into the fold here, and he plays pretty much the straight man out of the group here. Um, Not much comedy coming from his character, and that's the way the character is. So I'm not really mad at him. It was a decent performance. Uh, when he when he did have to kind of like, wait, what happened? When he was thrown off by the antics of John Cena in the film, he played it perfectly. I liked how him and John Cena bounced off of one another. Really good chemistry there. Um, Jermaine Fowler, who, as of late, I can see that he's becoming more prevalent in Hollywood. I never really followed his career until a couple of years ago when he popped up in Coming to America, the sequel, which I didn't like, but he was all right. He was all right in the film. Uh, Last year, The Blackening, which he also co-wrote, loved him in The Blackening. Loved him in The Blackening. And another film I watched, he was in, and I liked him in that. And this film, he was pretty good. He was decent. He wasn't the main guy, but he had a story. He had an arc, and I liked his story. Loved the arc, and I loved the chemistry he had with everybody here. Actually, all of the cast, at least the main cast in particular, had great chemistry together. You really believe that they're friends, that they were childhood friends, and it worked on screen. Andrew Santino, really liked him. I've seen him in other things, but I can't put a finger on where I've seen him. He's one of those faces that you've seen in other projects, but you can't pinpoint. I think that show Dave. I caught a couple of episodes of that show Dave, and he was on it, but not a major part of it. I think he was in Beef, the TV show that was on Netflix last year. I seen him in that, but little small parts. He had a bigger role here. I thought he was funny. He's really funny. Not over the top funny, but funny. Decent. And so really, really good job by him. But the standout, the one who stands out and pretty much saved this movie from being garbage to me is John Cena. John Cena. And in case you don't know, I am a huge WWE fan. I love pro wrestling, love WWE. John Cena, wrestler. I'm not the biggest John Cena wrestling fan because he only has 5 moves. If you ever heard the 5 moves of Doom, that because he only has 5 moves in wrestling. Uh, but his acting, his promo skills on the mic is a top 5 of all time in wrestlers. And so it was an easy transition. I say easy, but it was kind of a no brainer of a transition from wrestling to acting with him. And so I wasn't shocked by that. But the one thing that impresses me with John Cena and his career so far is he is bold. He is fearless with the roles that he takes. He doesn't care. He honestly doesn't care. And he gives 100% in every role that he's in. He was in a film last year. It was him and Allison Brie. Oh, what was the name of that movie? Freelance. Horrible movie. I mean, downright almost unwatchable. But he did his best. He gave his all. And I got to respect that. In this role, when we first meet his character, Ron or Rod, I think it was Rod, but we meet his character. He's this washed up Atlantic City lounge singer or whatever that performs pop songs that he remixes into these pornographic songs. And it's hilarious because they show him on stage, and not only does he do the songs, but he does the songs as that person. Like a Britney Spears song, he's dressed up like Britney Spears. Uh, uh, Billy Idol, he's dressed up like Billy Idol, and he's doing the performance, of all these different musicians, and it's beautiful to watch because he is so bold with it. And once he gets into the Ricky character, after he's hired, he throws himself into that role. Awesome, awesome performance. Saved the movie. He single-handedly saved this movie from being horrible. And I gotta tip my hat to Mr. John Cena. I love William H. Macy, but I felt he was miscast in this film. And I've seen William H. Macy be funny. He was on Shameless. He was funny on that. He's in other different movies. He's funny. He is a funny guy. But he's most known for his serious acting, but he he was not funny in here. Actually, he was just downright silly in this movie. And it was like, oh man, this is I just hate to see it for him. I'm a big William H. Macy fan, so it really hurt me to see him in this role. The direction here was kind of poo poo to say that this is a man who directed a Best Picture not too long ago. What about 6 years ago? Yeah, he swung and missed on this one. This was it looked cheap. It looked like a Prime Video movie. And that's no disrespect to Prime Video movies because I've enjoyed a lot of Prime Video movies. But this one just looked like it was made strictly for streaming and nothing more. And it just looked cheap. I don't know any other way to describe it. It's really heartbreaking when you sit down and think about it, because this film had a lot of potential to be hilarious. Like I said, it was a good concept. It just wasn't executed right. Maybe if him and his brother, him being Peter Farley, and his brother had made it together like they did in the past with these other films that I mentioned, maybe it would have landed a little better, but it didn't land for me. Ricky Stanicky, available now on Prime Video, gets a letter grade of a D plus. Yeah, it's I probably won't see it again. I've seen it once. I'm good. Life moves on. But I would like to know, what did you think? Did you watch Ricky Stanicky on Prime Video. What did you think? Did you laugh? Did you think it was funny? Do you think I don't know what funny is? So I would love to know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can look up the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. You can also search for the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Subscribe and like this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Ricky Stanicky, now on Prime Video. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.